Massive developments are shaking the Formula One world, and they all point to Christian Horner possibly nearing the end of his reign as Red Bull team principal. While nothing has been officially confirmed, insiders claim his days at the helm of the Austrian squad may be numbered. The team is navigating a tense and turbulent phase, especially with the upcoming regulatory changes that don't exactly play into Red Bull's strengths. In this context, could Oliver Oakes be the successor they're eyeing? And if not him, who else is on Red Bull's shortlist? Red Bull has been through its fair share of controversy and internal strife in recent years, particularly the previous season, which saw the team lose significant ground due to an intense investigation that cast a shadow over its reputation. Still, Horner has been with the organization since its inception. Replacing such a long-serving figure isn't a simple decision, and yet, according to multiple reputable sources, that's exactly what the team seems prepared to do. Rumors are intensifying that Horner could be ousted following the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix, set to take place next week. The fact that Piastri and Norris are currently leading the championship, while Verstappen looks increasingly unlikely to challenge for the 2025 title, has reportedly added to the pressure. Especially when one considers how Red Bull poured vast resources from their 2026 budget cap into this season without seeing proportional returns. The team demanded results and gave Horner another chance after the internal probe wrapped up, even handing him more authority. But those expectations haven't been met. The exits of Adrian Newey, Enrico Balbo, known as Conan, and Jonathan Wheatley dealt serious blows to the team's internal structure. Since then, Red Bull has looked more unstable than ever. Verstappen himself has voiced frustration over the car's performance, claiming that the upgrades aren't sufficient and that the gap to McLaren is far too large to be bridged with a few development packages. Even Pierre Wache, Red Bull's current technical director and someone Horner has trusted deeply, might find himself under scrutiny if things continue to unravel. But with Christian still holding the main levers of power, it's up to him to convince the Red Bull hierarchy that they're not on a path to decline. The British press isn't the only one sounding the alarm. A report from German outlet OE24 has added fuel to the fire, and whenever German media gets involved in Red Bull matters, Helmut Marko is never far behind. The veteran Austrian advisor has always been outspoken, especially when speaking to regional press, and his presence only adds intrigue to the situation. Now that a German publication is weighing in on Horner's future, it suggests something serious may be underway. As always, time will be the ultimate judge. But two potential replacements are already being mentioned as possible successors. The first is none other than Oliver Oakes, former Alpine team principal and a name previously floated in paddock circles. While Flavio Briatore has gone on record claiming that Oakes will remain committed to his current duties in France, it's hard to imagine him turning down a lucrative offer from a powerhouse like Red Bull. That said, the cloud of controversy surrounding him and his brother must be addressed. The last thing Red Bull needs is to swap one embattled team principal for another carrying his own baggage. The second contender is Franz Tost, former head of AlphaTauri. With decades of experience in the sport and a deep understanding of Red Bull's inner workings, Tost brings familiarity and stability, two qualities the team desperately needs right now. Having led the Italian-based outfit until the end of 2023, he might be the ideal candidate to step in and restore order in the wake of this leadership crisis. In Formula One, nothing is ever set in stone. Loyalty has an expiration date, and performance is everything. If the Red Bull higher-ups believe that replacing Horner is the only way forward, then no legacy, no matter how long-standing, will be safe. Even so, it's important to lay out all perspectives and acknowledge that Red Bull has publicly denied any internal discussions about Christian Horner's departure. Of course, this might simply be a strategic move, an attempt by the Austrian team to safeguard what's left of their integrity in the world of Formula One. After all, having 2 decades of uninterrupted involvement with the same team and being part of its journey since its foundation comes with undeniable weight. That kind of legacy doesn't disappear overnight. However, the real obstacle Horner may find impossible to ignore is the team's declining performance. The recent upgrades haven't delivered the expected results, and according to various reports, Red Bull has already funneled a significant chunk of their 2026 budget into the 2025 campaign in a bid to keep pace with rivals and, crucially, to keep Max Verstappen satisfied. It's a risky gamble. If true, it means they've jeopardized not one, but two championship seasons simultaneously. Meanwhile, teams like Mercedes and Ferrari are already positioning themselves as frontrunners for the new engine era, backed by their historical dominance in power unit development. Still, Red Bull's performance on track is only one piece of the puzzle when assessing Horner's situation. Behind the scenes, there has long been friction between him and Helmut Marko, a tension that has never completely disappeared. When car performance issues arose, they seemed willing to put aside their differences for the greater good. But now, that fragile unity appears to be crumbling, setting the stage for a far more complex and possibly explosive fallout around Horner's leadership. Former F1 race engineer Julian Simone Schutt, weighed in on the matter in the Mirror, stating bluntly that if Horner were to lose his job, it wouldn't come as a shock. In his view, it's an outcome that many within the sport have been anticipating, especially after everything the team has endured over the past year. He added that nothing is off the table in F1. While Horner may currently hold the record for the longest-standing team principal on the grid, the previous season pushed him to the brink. Julian openly remarked, "I wouldn't be surprised if Horner steps away. Formula One is an ever-changing battlefield, and anything can happen in the blink of an eye." What adds an ironic twist to this whole situation is the timing. Christian Horner and Red Bull are on the verge of celebrating their 400th Grand Prix together at Imola, a milestone that underscores how deeply intertwined his identity is with the team's legacy. They've been side by side since 2005. However, for Horner to officially part ways, it would require a mutual agreement between both ownership entities, the Austrian and the Thai shareholders. According to recent reports, it's the Thai faction that holds the bigger stake, and their waning interest in Horner could tip the balance. That might be the one factor still keeping Horner in the game, long-standing relationships and loyalty from the Thai side. But now, with fresh reporting from Autosprint suggesting that even that vital backing might be slipping away, the ground beneath him appears shakier than ever. His position at the helm is no longer untouchable. So, what is Horner's strategy to prove he's still the right man to lead the team through this crisis? Step 1 would be to stop looking too far ahead and focus entirely on salvaging the rest of the 2025 season. Realistically, the current championship campaign is close to a lost cause. Verstappen sits in third in the drivers' standings, and looming over everything is a controversial exit clause in his contract that could come into play sooner rather than later. According to Marko, the upcoming summer break will be a make-or-break period. If Verstappen isn't solidly in the top 3 by then, it may become significantly harder to convince him to stay. The paddock is already buzzing with rumors of interest from rivals like Mercedes and Aston Martin, both of whom have the resources and ambition to lure him away. This means Red Bull's top priority isn't even damage control anymore. It's about surviving. They need to find a way to make the car faster, more reliable, and more competitive, all while spending less from their already stretched 2026 development budget. The window for bold decisions is closing, and fast. Because in the high-stakes world of Formula One, yesterday's legacy doesn't guarantee tomorrow's security. And for Christian Horner, the pressure has never been higher. It's clear that the true test will come in Barcelona, the race where Red Bull hopes the FIA's restrictions on front-wing design will finally curb McLaren's dominant run. This front-wing saga, which first erupted in 2024, has sparked a wave of controversy. The governing body initially allowed teams time to adapt before planning a full crackdown, which is set to be enforced from the Spanish Grand Prix onward. The expectation is that the rule changes will slightly level the playing field, potentially slowing down McLaren and giving the rest of the grid, including Red Bull, a chance to close the gap. But even with these adjustments, the rest of the 2025 season remains unpredictable. And that unpredictability could end up having serious implications for Christian Horner's already fragile position within the team. Speaking on the matter, one team insider explained, "It's going to have an impact, no doubt about it. The tricky part is figuring out how much it's going to affect your rivals compared to you. This isn't a minor tweak, it's a fundamental shift. It's going to influence every car on the grid. The question is, by how much? We're still in the early stages of a grueling 24-race calendar, and there's a long road ahead. McLaren currently looks unbeatable, especially after their dominant showing since Miami. Things could still turn around, but for Red Bull to get back in the fight, they need to start making real progress. They can't afford to keep slipping in the points standings over the coming weekends. Even within Red Bull, there's acknowledgement that there won't be a single game-changing update or magical breakthrough to dethrone McLaren. As one senior figure put it, there's no eureka moment coming. We're up against a team that has two world-class drivers delivering consistently at the front. That's a stark contrast to Red Bull's previous run of dominance. In 2023, Sergio Perez fought desperately just to hold onto second place. And in 2022 and again in 2024, it wasn't Red Bull's second driver who secured that runner-up spot. It was someone from another team entirely. That lack of a reliable second contender has weakened their strategic position in the constructors' battle. Now, Red Bull faces a monumental challenge. Whether fans like it or not, Horner's leadership is under serious threat, not just because of what's happened recently, but because of the mountain of issues that lie ahead for the team. A new era of Formula One is looming, and Red Bull is at risk of falling behind just as the game is changing. With all of this unfolding, we want to hear from you. Do you think Horner's time with Red Bull is coming to an end? More importantly, can the team bounce back from everything that's happened over the past few months and finally turn things around? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to click on the video that's now on your screen for more in-depth analysis and the latest updates from the world of Formula One.